It started way before you think, he said. Back when you two were on that big break. The one where you told her you needed space. I blinked. A distant memory resurfaced. We weren't technically broken up, but we weren't exactly together either. A gray area. I never asked what she'd done during that time, and she never asked me. My brother continued. She came to me crying. You'd said something that terrified her. I don't know what. But she was scared you'd leave her. That night, we crossed a line. I clenched my jaw so hard it hurt. How many times? I asked. He hesitated, which was already my answer. My blood turned cold. How many? He exhaled. 3. I closed my eyes. And the baby? I said. He took a breath. When she told me she was pregnant, she didn't know who the father was. I begged her to take a test. I told her I'd take responsibility if... She cut him off with a scream, raw and broken. Stop lying! You know why I did it. I turned toward her slowly. You did what? I asked. Because of what? She shook her head violently, hair sticking to her soaked face. You have no idea what was happening. That's why I'm asking, I said quietly. So tell me. She swallowed, tears streaming. Your mother, she whispered. My heart hammered. What about her? She told me, if the baby wasn't yours, she would destroy me. I froze. My mother? The woman who hugged everyone? The woman who called her daughter from day one? My wife continued. She found out I was pregnant before I told you. She asked me directly if it was yours. I panicked. I didn't know what the truth was yet. She said if the baby wasn't biologically Cole's, she'd make sure you left me, and she'd make sure I never had a place in this family again. My breath caught. Why would my mother even think the baby wasn't mine? I asked. My brother shifted uncomfortably. I looked at him. What did you tell her? He shook his head. I didn't. What did you tell her? He finally broke. I told her there was a chance. I told her we made a mistake. I told her we'd ended it, but that there was a window where it could be mine. Everything inside me shattered again, over and over and over. So she threatened you, I said to my wife. She nodded desperately. She said if the baby wasn't yours, she'd expose everything. The break, the timing, the mistakes, and she'd protect you, not me. She said she'd already seen the signs. She already suspected something. My head spun. And so you... I swallowed. You got an abortion? She sobbed harder. I didn't want to raise a child not knowing the truth. I didn't want to bring a baby into a mess. I was terrified. I was alone. And when I told him, she gestured toward my brother, hands shaking. He said if you ever found out, he'd deny everything. My brother's jaw clenched. That's not what happened. He shot back. I told you to tell him the truth before the wedding. You refused. You buried it. You married him with secrets. Don't turn this on me. You slept with me first, she screamed. And you kept me in it, he screamed back. I stepped between them. Stop! They froze instantly. My voice didn't sound like mine anymore. Let me get this straight, I said, looking between them. You cheated with him years ago. You might have been pregnant with his child. You lied and said you miscarried. My mother somehow got dragged into this. And then, after all that, I pointed at them both. You two started sleeping together again? The silence said everything. Answer me, I said. Quiet. Controlled. Deadly. My brother spoke first, voice low. She came to me. She threatened me, my wife cried. She said if I ever told anyone what happened before the marriage, she'd tell Ethan first and make sure I lost everything. My brother shook his head. She manipulated both of us. My wife pointed at him. He kept showing up drunk, telling me he still loved me. I never said that, he shouted. You wrote it. And she yelled back. I wrote that I cared, he shot back. That's not the same thing. You said you missed what we had, because you said you missed it first. It was a moment of weakness. It wasn't just a moment. Enough, I snapped. They both went silent. I looked at them. These two people I thought I knew. Two liars, two cowards. Two disasters who burned my life down and blamed each other for lighting the match. I took a deep breath and said the only sentence that made sense anymore. I'm done with both of you. But my brother shook his head slowly. You can't be done yet, he said. I turned to him, jaw tight. Why not? He hesitated. Then he said the words that punched every bit of air out of my lungs. Because the person who sent you that video was neither of us. I didn't plan on confronting them that night. I didn't plan on confronting anyone. But when you carry a truth so heavy it bends your spine, there comes a moment when your body makes the choice for you. That moment hit me like a punch to the chest when I pulled into my own driveway and saw two familiar silhouettes arguing on my porch, Ava and my brother, Noah. My lungs froze. My hand stayed on the steering wheel long after the engine shut off. I wasn't ready for what came next. But some confrontations don't wait for readiness. They come for you whether you're prepared or not. I stepped out of the car, slowly, quietly. They didn't notice. Not at first. Ava's voice cracked through the night air, sharp and ragged. You don't get to judge me, Noah. You don't know what he put me through. Noah shot back. You ruined him. You don't get to rewrite that. Ava grabbed her hair with both hands, pacing in frantic circles. Noah stood rigid, jaw flexing so hard I could see it in the dark. I was 5 feet away when Noah finally noticed me. His mouth stopped mid-sentence. Ava turned. I watched her face collapse into something between relief and terror. I walked up the steps, my heartbeat loud enough to drown out the crickets, the cars, the whole damn world. Don't stop on my account, I said. My voice shocked all three of us. It wasn't loud. It wasn't angry. It was something far worse calm. Ava swallowed. Ethan, I can explain. Noah opened his mouth, shut it, opened it again. He looked like he wanted to protect me from something, and that alone pissed me off. You've both been doing a whole lot of explaining behind my back, I said. Tonight, you can do it in front of me. Ava broke first. She rushed forward. Please, just listen. Things weren't what they looked like. You don't know everything. You're right, I said. So tell me. Noah stepped between us, raising a hand toward her like she was a threat. Don't lie to him again. Ava's eyes burned. You don't get to dictate who tells what. No, Noah snapped. Then tell him why you called me before you called him that night at the cabin. My stomach lurched. The cabin? I repeated. You were there? Ava hesitated. Noah didn't. She dragged me into this, he said. She begged me not to tell you what she'd done. She said she could fix everything if I just stayed quiet. Ava spun toward him, furious. I asked you to stay quiet because I wanted to protect him. You're twisting everything. She was shaking. He was shaking. And I stood there like a man watching his life burn down, while everyone insisted they were trying to help put out the fire. I stepped back. Start over, I said. From the beginning, and don't leave out a single thing. Ava's breathing hitched as she stared at me, eyes glossy, mascara smudged from crying. Okay, she whispered. You want the truth? Here. She steadied herself against the porch railing. Your father came to see me 2 months before he died. Everything inside me froze. Noah snapped his head toward her. Ava, don't. She ignored him. He said you were drifting away from him, she continued. Said he couldn't reach you anymore after your fight. He wanted me to talk to you. to help him fix things. My mouth went dry. You never told me that, I said. Because I knew how you felt, she said. I knew you didn't want to talk about him. I thought I could help both of you without dragging things out. Her voice cracked. But when he died, you pulled away from everything. From your family. From me. I flinched. Those were wounds I still hadn't dared to touch. I wasn't cheating on you, she said softly. I wasn't. She took a breath. But I was lying. Her hands trembled. I kept talking to your father behind your back, even after you swore you didn't want anyone meddling. I met him multiple times. I didn't tell you because I thought it would make things worse. I stared at her, numb. You lied to me to get closer to him, I said. Not a question. She nodded painfully. And I hated myself for it, she whispered, every day. The truth. No one was ready for. Dad told Ava something. Noah admitted. Something he didn't want to put in a text. Something he didn't want me to know. A chill ran through me. Ava stepped forward, voice barely above a whisper. He said you weren't the reason he left. You weren't the reason he broke the family. You weren't the reason he was distant. My breath caught. What? I whispered. Ava nodded. He said he'd been diagnosed with something serious. He didn't want you to see him get worse. He didn't want you to feel obligated to take care of him. He thought distancing himself would protect you. My vision blurred. He told me he loved you, Ava said, that he regretted everything, that he wanted one last chance to fix things. I felt my knees weaken. Noah stepped closer, voice heavy. He wanted to tell you himself. That's why he was driving over that night. He was coming to see you. It hit me like a collapsing building. The night he died. The night I told him I didn't want to talk. The missed calls I ignored. The message I let sit unread. He was coming to tell me he was sick. He was coming to apologize. He was coming to make things right. And I pushed him away. Ava reached out to touch my arm. I stepped back. I didn't want comfort. I wanted truth. All this time, I said hoarsely, you both knew. Ava shook her head. No, not everything. I only knew what he told me that night. Noah stared at the ground. I found out later, he whispered. Mom told me. After everything. Ava's voice trembled. I didn't cheat on you, Ethan. I didn't betray you like that. But I did betray your trust. I kept secrets. I tried to fix things behind your back. I was wrong. Noah looked up, guilt all over his face. And I should have told you the truth years ago, he said. But I didn't want you to blame yourself. I laughed. A broken, hollow laugh. You two decided what I should or shouldn't know about my own life. Neither of them had an answer. The final fire. I stepped toward the edge of the porch, pacing, breathing fast. You both manipulated me, I said, for different reasons, but the result was the same. You took choices away from me. Ava wiped her cheeks. I was trying to protect you. Noah nodded. So was I. And look how that turned out, I said. Silence. Heavy, suffocating silence. I turned to Ava. Did you ever love me? She didn't hesitate. With everything I had, she whispered. But I wasn't strong enough to love you the right way. I swallowed. Then I turned to Noah. And you? Were you protecting me? Or were you protecting yourself? He winced. His silence told me everything. Ava stepped toward me, tears falling freely now. Ethan, please, tell me what you're feeling. I looked at her. Really looked. I feel like everything I ever believed was flipped inside out, I said. I feel like I lost Dad twice. Once before he died, and once tonight. She covered her mouth to stifle a sob. And I feel like both of you, I added, loved me in ways that hurt. Ava fell to her knees. Noah looked away. I inhaled slowly, painfully. I'm done being the person who gets lied to, I said. From now on, I decide what happens. I take back the narrative. I take back my life. For the first time that night, I felt something like clarity. Not peace. Not yet. But direction. Both of you leave, I said quietly. I need space. Real space. Not the kind you force on me. The kind I choose. Ava hesitated. Ethan? No, I said. Go. She broke. Crushed. But she obeyed. Noah stayed a moment longer. I'm sorry, he said, voice cracking. You deserved better. Then he left too. I stood alone on the porch, staring at the streetlights, blowing in the cold wind. And for the first time since my father died, I let myself feel everything. This wasn't the end. Not for me. But it was the end of being blind. The end of letting others hold the truth hostage. The end of believing lies wrapped in love. Tonight wasn't closure. Tonight was ignition. You'd think the night everything collapsed would be the worst of it. But the truth is, the aftermath is always harder, quieter, heavier. The morning after Ava and Noah left, the house felt different. Like someone had reached into the walls and carved out every echo of who I used to be. I walked through each room like I was touring the ruins of a life that no longer belonged to me. The kitchen where Ava and I made pancakes on Sundays. The living room where Noah and I once argued about everything except the things we should have talked about. My father's old watch sitting in a drawer, exactly where I'd left it the night we fought for the last time. All of it felt haunted, but not by ghosts, by truth. And for the first time in years, I didn't run from it. The letter I never opened. There was something I'd been avoiding. A letter. The day my father died, the police returned his belongings to me. Among them was an envelope with my name on it. I shoved it in a drawer and never looked at it again. Until now. I sat at the kitchen table with the letter in my hands. It felt heavier than paper should. When I opened it, my father's handwriting stared back at me. Ethan, if you're reading this, I didn't get the chance to say everything I needed to. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I get to tell you in person. But I know I can't control the time I have left. My breath caught. He knew. He'd always known. I didn't leave because of you. I didn't distance myself because of anything you did. I left because I couldn't stand the idea of you watching me fade. I wanted to protect you from the ugliness of the ending I saw coming. My chest tightened. The worst mistake a father can make is thinking his child needs protection from the truth. You deserved honesty. I failed you there. I rubbed my eyes with the back of my hand. I am proud of you, son. More than you ever understood. I never stop being proud. Tell your brother that too. Tell him I forgive him for the secrets he keeps. We're all flawed men trying to do what we think is right. I swallowed hard. And Ethan, let love in. Don't close the door because of my failures. Don't repeat my mistakes. Love fully. Forgive when you can. Walk away when you must. But never let fear decide for you. I love you. Dad. By the time I finished reading, my face was wet. I sat there for a long time, letting every word settle into place. It didn't fix everything. It didn't erase the pain. But it gave me something I hadn't felt in years. Direction, permission, closure I didn't know I needed. Facing Noah. I called Noah that afternoon. He didn't answer at first, but eventually he showed up at my door. He looked like hell, like the truth had been eating him alive too. I should have told you, he said before I even opened my mouth. I know, I replied. He exhaled, shaking his head. I was scared. Not of Dad's secret, but of you hating him. Hating yourself. Hating me. I leaned against the doorway. You're my brother, I said quietly. I don't hate you, but you don't get to protect me from my own life. He nodded, eyes glassy. You want to read the letter? I asked. He swallowed. Yeah, I do. I handed it to him. He read it slower than I did. When he finished, he didn't speak, he just hugged me. Not the kind of hug you give out of habit, the kind you give when you're tired of fighting the wrong battles. For the first time in years, we weren't two sons trying to interpret a broken man. We were brothers again. Ava. I didn't expect to see her again, but a week later, she showed up outside my house. Not hysterical, not dramatic, not trying to win anything, just standing there. Can we talk? She asked softly. I stepped outside and closed the door behind me. She looked tired, but calmer, like she'd finally stopped running too. I'm not here to fix anything, she said. I just wanted to say I'm sorry. Not the panicked kind of sorry, the real kind. I crossed my arms, not defensive, just grounded. You hurt me, I said. I know, she whispered. You made choices for me. I know. And you lied. She nodded. Tears didn't fall this time. I loved you, she said, but I didn't know how to love someone without trying to save them. I exhaled. I appreciate the apology, I said, and I forgive you, but I'm not the same person anymore. A small, sad smile touched her face. I know, she said, and that's a good thing. We stood there in silence. No promises, no attempts to revive something dead, just acceptance. She walked away, not dramatically, not tragically, just walked. It was the most peaceful ending we could have had. The final question. Later that night, I sat on the porch where everything had exploded a week earlier. I looked at the street, the sky, the quiet, and I asked myself a question that had haunted me for years. Who am I when no one else is steering the wheel? For the first time, I had an answer. I'm someone who survived heartbreak without becoming bitter, someone who learned the truth without collapsing, someone who let go when holding on would have killed me, someone who chose honesty over comfort, freedom over fear, growth over revenge. I'm someone new, and for the first time in a long time, I'm proud of that. I found out my wife was cheating on me the night I planned to tell her. I finally forgave her for something she didn't even know she'd done. Sounds insane, right? Trust me. This is only the first crack in a much bigger fault line. My name's Ethan Cole, 33, architect, husband, brother, betrayed idiot, apparently. And the night everything fell apart started like this. It was our anniversary, 7 years married, 10 years together. I booked a quiet restaurant downtown. Warm lighting, soft jazz, the kind of place where people pretend their lives are perfect. I even rehearsed what I was going to say. I know we've had a hard year, but I want to rebuild. I'm still here. But she never showed up. At first, I told myself she was running late. Then I told myself she got caught in traffic. Then I told myself to stop checking the door like some abandoned puppy. An hour passed. I called her twice, straight to voicemail. I texted, "Everything okay?" Read. No reply. And that's when my stomach dropped. Not because something was wrong, but because something was too familiar. 6 months earlier, we'd had a bad fight, the kind that sticks to your ribs. I said things I regret. She shut down, and I knew. She pulled away from me in a way she never had before. Tonight felt exactly like that night. Then my phone buzzed. A picture. No message. Just a picture. At first, I didn't understand what I was looking at. It was grainy, nighttime, dim. A parking lot. A car I recognized. My wife's car. And 2 silhouettes in the front seat. Leaning in. Too close. My heart didn't break. It folded in on itself, like a building collapsing in slow motion. I zoomed in. I already knew. Even before the faces became clear. It was her. And him. My brother. The world didn't just fall apart. It rearranged itself into something unrecognizable. I couldn't breathe, couldn't think, couldn't even stand. I sat there in a restaurant surrounded by laughing couples while my life burned in my hands. But the worst part? It wasn't even the betrayal. It was the timestamp in the corner. They'd been together for a long time, much longer than tonight. And the person who sent the photo? Unknown number. But the message it carried was clear. You deserve to know. I left the restaurant and drove home with the kind of clarity only devastation can bring. Everything looked sharper. The streetlights, the reflections on the car windows, the cracks in the sidewalk. Like the world had suddenly shifted into high definition. When I walked inside the house, it was dark, silent, but her shoes were on the floor. Her jacket hung in its usual place. She had beaten me home. She was pretending nothing happened. I heard water running upstairs, the shower. Of course. Wash away the guilt. And then, like an idiot, I almost walked in there right then. I almost confronted her dripping wet and cornered, but something in me, some broken, bruised, trembling instinct, told me to wait. Not out of kindness, out of strategy. If she and my brother were hiding something, I wanted the truth in full. So I sat in the hallway in the dark, listening to the shower run, and remembered the one secret I'd been keeping for a year, the one I planned to confess tonight, the thing she never knew she'd done. And I wondered for the first time, was I ever going to tell her now? She came downstairs wrapped in a towel, scrolling casually on her phone, the same hand she used to touch me, touch him, lie to both of us. "Hey," she said softly, like nothing was wrong. "You home early? Restaurant wasn't good?" I looked at her face, and I realized something terrifying. She wasn't just lying. She was good at it. I forced myself to smile. "I want to talk," I said. Her eyes flickered. Fear? Guilt? Hard to tell. She masked it quickly. "Sure," she said. "Let me get dressed." I watched her walk away, and every step she took felt like a nail being driven into wood. Slow, deliberate, irreversible. When she came back, she smelled like lavender soap and the kind of peace I no longer believed we ever actually shared. She sat across from me on the couch, calm, collected, ready to manipulate me with love. "Is everything okay?" she asked. And I said it, the quietest, most dangerous sentence of my life. "Where were you tonight?" She blinked once, slowly. People tell you it's obvious when someone lies, but with her? It was like watching a seasoned poker player adjust her expression by millimeters. "I told you earlier," she said. "I was catching up with an old coworker." She didn't flinch, didn't look away, didn't fidget. That scared me more than the cheating itself. "What coworker?" I asked. She hesitated for half a heartbeat. Subtle, but I caught it. "Stephanie," she said. "You met her once, remember?" I didn't. Because Stephanie didn't exist. I leaned back, masking the storm inside me. "You could have texted. I waited for you at the restaurant." She sighed, the kind of sigh meant to flip the guilt back on me. "Ethan, we've barely talked for months. I didn't think you even cared about anniversaries anymore." Deflection, minimization, classic. I studied her face, wondering how long she'd been rehearsing lines like these. Then something unexpected happened. Her phone lit up beside her. A message preview. My brother's name. But not the name I saved him under. A nickname only she used. My blood went cold. She saw me glance, and panic, real panic, flashed in her eyes. She snatched the phone so fast it nearly fell. I should turn this off," she stammered. "It's been a long day." And that was it. Confirmation without her saying a word. But I didn't confront her yet. I needed the truth. The whole truth. Not the version she'd try to sell me. So I leaned forward. "I want us to be honest tonight," I said. "Completely honest." She swallowed. She knew she was standing on a cliff. "Okay," she whispered. "Ask me anything." I took a breath. "Are you happy?" I asked. She froze, not expecting that. "Ethan, why would you ask that?" "Because you don't touch me anymore. You barely look at me. You spend every weekend visiting your mom, but come back smelling like a stranger's cologne. Because tonight you didn't show up. Because I don't know who you are anymore." She opened her mouth, then closed it. Her hands trembled slightly. "I've been unhappy for a while," she finally said. "But I didn't know how to tell you." I nodded slowly. "Is there someone else?" The silence in the room thickened. She didn't answer, but her eyes did, loud and clear. I leaned in. "Say it," I whispered. "I want to hear you say his name." Her lips parted, and for a second, just 1 second, guilt cracked her entire facade. I could see the truth fighting to get out. Her eyes welled with tears. "I can't," she choked. Not "I didn't." Not "you're wrong." Just "I can't." That was all I needed. But before I could say anything, my phone buzzed. Another text from the same unknown number. This time, it wasn't a picture. It was a video. A video recorded inside my brother's apartment. And the two people in it? Her and him. Together. Laughing. Kissing. But the audio was what broke me. Because over their laughter, someone whispered, "He deserves to know everything." I stared at the video, then at her. "Stephanie doesn't live in your coworker's apartment," I said quietly. She went white. "Ethan, please. I can explain. Don't." My voice cracked, raw and sharp. "Not yet." Her tears fell fast now. Not remorse. Fear. Because she knew I didn't want explanations. I wanted the truth. And she wasn't ready for what I was about to say next. "Before I tell you what I know," I whispered, "I need you to tell me one thing." She held her breath. I leaned in, my voice steady but breaking inside. "How long has it been you and my brother?" She didn't answer right away. She didn't cry harder. She didn't scream. She didn't deny it. She just stared at me, like a prisoner staring at the moment before the verdict. "How long?" I repeated, quieter this time. Her lips trembled. "Ethan, please don't make me say it." My chest tightened. I leaned back slowly, forcing my breath to stay even. "That long?" I whispered. She nodded. Barely. A single, tiny movement, but enough to detonate something inside me. My wife. My brother. Not a fling, not a mistake. A relationship. "Why him?" I asked. It came out hoarse, stupid, broken. Out of everyone in the world, why him? She covered her face, not to hide tears, but to hide the truth leaking out too fast. "It wasn't planned," she whispered through shaking hands. "It just happened." I laughed. A sharp, ugly sound that didn't feel human. People don't just accidentally fall into each other's beds for months. She flinched. "It started after that night you said you wished you'd never married me," she said quietly. I froze. A memory slammed into me. The argument from last year. I had said that. I didn't mean it. But I said it. I felt my stomach twist. "So this is my fault?" I asked, voice low and dangerous. "No," she cried. "No, that's not what I—" "Then what are you saying?" She looked at me with a kind of desperation that made my skin crawl. I was hurt. He was there. I was vulnerable. I stared at her. "And he wasn't?" I asked. "He wasn't married? He wasn't my brother? He wasn't betraying me every single day he looked me in the face?" She broke then, not emotionally, but structurally. Her posture collapsed. Her confidence bled out. Her lies started slipping. "I didn't expect it to go on this long," she whispered. "I thought it would stop. I tried to end it. He said he would tell you everything if I did." I blinked. A new kind of cold spread in my chest. What? I said slowly. She swallowed hard. He said, if I leave him, he'll tell you the truth. He said he deserved to have something in his life that made him happy, and he wouldn't let you take it away. The room tilted. My breath stalled. My brother threatening her, holding the affair over her head. But then another thought hit me. Or was she twisting the story again? Show me your messages, I said. She stiffened. Panic flashed again. I can't, she whispered. Why not? Because he deleted most of them, and I deleted the rest. Convenient. Too convenient. I stood up, pacing. My thoughts raced. Okay, I said. Let's pretend I believe you. Let's pretend he blackmailed you emotionally. Let's pretend you were trapped. I turned toward her. But that still doesn't explain why someone sent me that video tonight. Her eyes widened. She hadn't known. What video? She whispered. I didn't answer. Instead, I pulled out my phone and played 5 seconds, just enough to see them kissing. She gasped. Her hands flew to her mouth. Who sent that? She cried. You tell me. She shook her head violently. I swear to God, Ethan, I don't know. And I believed her. For the first time tonight, I believed she wasn't lying about that part, which meant something even worse. Someone else knew. Someone else was watching them, recording them, tracking them, and I had no idea who. Before I could think more, the doorbell rang. Both of us froze. She whispered, Ethan, don't answer it. But I was already walking to the door. My heart hammered in my chest. Every possibility flashed through my mind. My brother, a neighbor, some stranger who'd been spying. I opened the door, and my heart stopped. Standing there, drenched in rain, eyes bloodshot, hands shaking like he'd been holding on to the last thread of sanity, was my brother. Ethan, he said, voice raw, we need to talk. Behind me, she gasped. Behind him, a car idled, engine running, lights off. But what chilled me wasn't his face. It was the look in his eyes. Not guilt, not fear, not shame. Something else. Something darker. Let me in, he said quietly. This isn't what you think. I didn't move. He stepped forward, lowering his voice. She didn't tell you everything. I felt her behind me. Don't listen to him, she whispered. He stared at her with a hatred I'd never seen from him toward anyone. You didn't tell him, did you? He said. She froze. His jaw clenched. Do I tell him? He said, voice razor sharp. Or do you? My stomach dropped. There was another secret. Something bigger. Something worse. She whispered, please don't. He looked straight into my eyes. It's time you knew the truth, he said. And then, she wasn't the only one lying to you. I didn't move. My brain didn't move. The air didn't move. Only my brother's words did. Sharp, precise, slicing through the space between us. She wasn't the only one lying to you. Behind me, I heard her whisper, barely audible, please, don't do this. But he pushed past me anyway, wet shoes on hardwood, dripping rain onto the floor like he was bleeding into my house. He looked destroyed, not guilty, furious, not ashamed, betrayed. At her, not at me. You did this, he spat at her. You made this happen. She flinched like he slapped her. Stop, she whispered. Please stop. But my brother wasn't stopping. Not tonight. Not after months. Maybe years. Of secrets. He turned to me. You think this is just some affair? Some stupid, emotional mistake? He said. No, Ethan. No. This is bigger than that. I swallowed, my throat thick. What else is there? I managed. He laughed. Sharp. Broken. Tell him, he said to her again. Tell him what you did before all this even started. She shook her head violently. It wasn't, I didn't mean. He cut her off. You knew exactly what you were doing. Silence. Not empty silence. Loaded, suffocating, electric. She squeezed her eyes shut, breath shaking. "I can't," she whispered. My brother looked at me, then at her, then back at me, and then he said something that cracked the floor beneath everything I thought I knew. "Ethan, she lied to you about the miscarriage." The room spun, my vision tunneled. I stepped back instinctively, like his words physically shoved me. "What? What did you just say?" I asked. He didn't blink. "She didn't lose the baby," he said. "She got rid of it." My heart turned to stone. My voice cracked. "Whoa, what are you talking about? She was devastated. She cried for days." He shook his head, jaw clenched. "She aborted the baby, Ethan, and she told you it was a miscarriage because she didn't want you to know the truth, because she wasn't sure if it was yours." Everything inside me went hollow. She broke, collapsed, fell to the floor with a sound that didn't sound human. "Stop!" she screamed. "Stop saying that!" My brother didn't stop. "She didn't want to take the test," he said, "because she knew if it wasn't yours, you'd leave. And she didn't want to lose the life she had with you, the house, the stability, the image." I stared at her. "Is it true?" I whispered. She sobbed uncontrollably, shaking on the floor, hands covering her face. I asked again, louder this time. "Is it true?" She didn't answer. She didn't have to. Her silence was the answer. My chest tightened until it physically hurt. I sat down because I couldn't stand anymore. My brother stepped closer. "It didn't start with me," he said quietly, almost gently. "This whole thing didn't start with me. She'd been lying long before I ever got involved." She lifted her head just enough to look at me. "I was scared," she cried. "I didn't know what to do. I made a mistake." "Which one?" I snapped. "The abortion you hid? The affair? The months of lying? Which mistake are we talking about now?" She sobbed louder, curling in on herself. I looked at my brother, trying to find some version of reality to cling to. "Why are you telling me this now?" I asked. He took a breath. His jaw tightened. "Because I shouldn't have been part of this," he said. "She pulled me in after all this already happened. I was stupid. I was angry at you. I was lonely. And she knew exactly what to say. Another twist. Another knife. 'Don't make me the villain here,' he said. I wasn't the first. I wasn't even the second." I blinked. "The second," I whispered. He paused. Too long. A hesitation that made my blood run ice cold. And then he shook his head. "I'm not here to ruin her life," he said. "Just to stop the lies." But I didn't miss it. I didn't miss the way she looked at him in that moment. Pure fear. Not fear of losing me. Fear of what else he might reveal. I turned back to her. "There was someone else before him?" I asked quietly. She froze. Her breath caught in her throat. Ethan, please." "It was before we were married. It didn't matter. I thought it wouldn't—" "Answer me." She swallowed, trembling. "Yes," she whispered, barely audible. "Yes, there was someone else." Everything inside me snapped, every year, every memory, every kiss, every "I love you." They all evaporated. I stood up. My body moved on its own. My brother stepped back, watching me carefully. She crawled toward me on her knees. "Ethan, please, please listen. I'm not the same person I was back then. Please." But every cell in my body recoiled. I looked at her, really looked, and I didn't see my wife. I saw a stranger wearing her face. A stranger who destroyed my past, corrupted my present, and set fire to any future I thought we had. And something inside me went quiet. Dangerously quiet. "I'm done," I said. My voice surprised even me, calm, hollow, final. But my brother shook his head. No, he said. You're not done. Not yet. I glared at him. What else could there possibly be? He hesitated, looked down, then looked up with something like regret. There's one more thing, he said softly. The part she begged me not to tell you. She shook her head violently. No, please stop. But he looked at me, and with a voice that felt like the world ending, he said, Ethan, the baby might actually have been mine. I didn't hear him at first. Not really. The words landed, but my brain refused to process them. The baby might have been his. My brother, my blood, my best friend growing up. The kid I defended in school. The man I trusted with everything. I stared at him like he'd just confessed to killing someone. And in a way, he had. He'd killed whatever was left of our family. I felt my knees go weak, forcing me to grip the back of the couch. My vision blurred. My heartbeat thundered. When my voice finally found its way out, it was barely a whisper. Say that again. He swallowed, looked at the floor, then looked at me. I said, the baby might have been mine. Behind me, she sobbed so hard her words broke into static. Please, please, please don't do this. Shut up, I said without even looking at her. It wasn't anger, it was emptiness, a void. I wanted the truth. Finally. Completely. Explain, I told him. He dragged a hand down his face, exhausted, like he'd been carrying this for years.